Where do you think Micah should? Where do you think Mike? Because that's a conversation here. 1 minute he should be linebacker, he should be edge rush, and then the thing with he ain't gonna want to do linebacker because linebackers don't make money. Middle linebackers don't make money. They're
I
gonna
think
spend
that
on the edge.
one thing, and you guys are very familiar with Wade Phillips down there, and one thing that Wade Phillips did with us, and this is why I learned with Wade. Wade, if you're great at something, you're doing 80% of the time. And what you're not great at, you're doing 20. And so he wasn't going to. Wade Phillips was never going to have me in a dropping the passer, covering the flats, covering the seams too much. Even though I could do it, and you got to do it to keep everybody honest and show the people, okay, I'm not coming off the edge 100% of the time. If I was Dan Quinn, I would have used Micah Parsons the same way they did with me. Right, I might line up on the left. I might line up on the right. I might start off the line of scrimmage. I might line up in the A gap or B gap and come around and rush off the edge. But you will not know. And this is something I talked to Micah Parsons about personally before the season started because of the year he had before. And I let him know. I said, you're not coming in unnoticed this year. When people game plan, these offensive coordinators, they are game planning you. They are starting with you, and they will kind of figure out where DeMarcus Lawrence and some of these other guys are coming from, and they'll factor in everybody, but they are game planning you. So your job, and I told Micah this, I said your job is to battle these offensive coordinators by keeping them off balance. Dan Quinn didn't put him in some of those situations to do that. You can't line the most explosive player on the defense side of the ball on one line, on one side or the other, and put his hand in the dirt because you eliminate 50% of his capabilities of getting to the ball. And by the way, no holding call was called against him in over 30-something quarters.
Right.
So if that is
like the last game, I think
it's the most ridiculous stat we've ever seen by any great player ever in the history of football not to get a holding call for that long, because you ain't got no choice to hold him.
Right.
You got to hold him at some point. And so if that was the case, he wasn't getting these calls, and I'm sure they were turning in these calls every single game after the game. Hey, look, he was held these 6 times. So they were turning these videos in of him getting held, and they're still not calling it. What I would have done if I was Dan Quinn, I would have took him off that line of scrimmage, and I would line him up in the middle, in a middle linebacker, and I would have brought him down A, B gap, the rushing that guard center. The next play, he'll be on the left. The next play after that, he'll be on the right. The next play, he'll be out on the flats and come down blazing off that line of scrimmage. And then, you know what? For a series, he'll play left or right DN. That's what I would have done. So you can't fan protect. You can't slide protect. You can't do anything to know what his pre-snap read was pre-snap line was going to be. That's what I would have been, because he's such a dynamic player. You can't keep him there. So I was baffled. To see his hand in the dirt on one side of the ball. It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, Dan, listen, I keep telling people we got rid of the problem from last year. It was Dan Quinn. That defense that they played against Green Bay. Micah Parsons said something that was real key to me in his podcast. He said, we got out-schemed. When he said that, I was like, oh, no, Dan Quinn got to go. You can't tell me you got out-schemed by a team that snuck in the playoffs, and then when they played you, they made you look dumb. There were guys wide open in the field. If you're telling me you got out-schemed, then the coordinator needs to go. I'm sorry.
And he was. And I think that Dan Quinn was, he did a good job for the year. I think Dallas' weakest point was that interior D line, because they were getting gashed on a lot of the runs and stuff like that. I think they could have done a better job interior, but also Van Der Esch, not being there, he's a big force and presence in the inside as well. But
our rookie Overshawn, he tore his ACL in preseason. He was supposed to be our other middle linebacker,
right.
DeMario Overshawn from Texas, I believe.
Yeah, he would have been another one right in the middle.
He's a beast.